All right, welcome to the Taylor Green Media Podcast. I'm Mike Green, your fabulous host, and I want to ask you if you've had this experience before. I'm assuming that most of you are entrepreneurs, you're business owners, maybe you're just thinking about going into that world at some point. Maybe you used to be in that world and you got destroyed, and now you're back in working for the man, but you want to get back in that world. Whatever your situation is, let me ask you if you've had this experience before. So I woke up this morning, and I've been sick the last week or so, and I woke up this morning and I thought I was doing better, but I didn't have a good night. Woke up in a bad mood, had a bad dream, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, whatever you want to say. And I had those moments where it's like, forget it. I'm just going to throw my hands up in the air. I don't care anymore. I'm going to go back and I'm going to, I probably like to do a long haul trucking or work at a factory or something. And I just want to be done. And have you ever had that experience before? I'm guessing you probably have. I think every entrepreneur has an experience like that, probably multiple times a week, right? So I thought in today's podcast, not only because it's really relevant for me and what I went through today, and it's about 1:30 and my evolution from 5 o'clock this morning to 1:30 this afternoon, what you can do to safeguard yourself and most importantly your mind when that happens to you. So here's 3 things that you can do, 3 processes that you can create for yourself to make sure that you're going to be able to get through those times as quickly as you can, because they're going to happen. I think they probably happen for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and all the really smart, successful entrepreneurs. I'm sure they happen for them all the time as well. Probably more than for you and I. So the first thing, and one of the most important things, is you don't just bottle it in. So I come marching through the doors this morning, and I'm like pushing things out of the way, and I'm saying words I shouldn't say, and I'm like, I come up to Will and I'm like, man, I'm done, right? I had a bad morning, whatever. And basically he talked me down from the ledge, right? He was rational and said, okay, let's kind of work through this, and got my mind back centered. And that's super, super valuable. And I'll be honest, for a lot of years, I worked completely by myself, just in my little home office, didn't really talk to a lot of people very often, and it was really difficult to get through those long patches of, call it depression, call it whatever you want to call it, but it was difficult because I didn't have a chance to really talk to anybody and have them help guide me through the forest, so to speak, so I can see the prairie again and see the sunlight. And so it's really valuable that you talk to somebody. Now, a lot of people, especially if you're an entrepreneur that's just starting up, you probably are in your home office or your spare bedroom or your basement or your master bathroom or something like that. You don't have a lot of people to talk to. You probably don't feel like you can even talk to your spouse because you don't want to bring the stresses and pressures of entrepreneurism with them and add to their load. I totally get it. I was the same way. It is important that you get your, I'm going to call it band of brothers, but it could be band of sisters too, your band of people that you can go to that well and have them help you remember why it is that you are doing what you're doing and help you again talk you off the ledge so that you don't do something stupid or rational. Now, the second thing that you can do is go back to basics. Now, it's really important to remember that moment that you had when you knew that you had to be an entrepreneur. Let me tell you mine. So I was working for a marketing company. This is probably 10 years ago. I was working for a marketing company, and I had a drive. Matter of fact, the drive was from Salem, Utah, which is a beautiful little town, up into Provo, Utah. It was about a 25-minute drive every morning. And the marketing company was great, nothing wrong with there, but at that stage of my life, it was not what I was doing. I was working for a company. It wasn't my company. We weren't doing the things that I wanted to do. And every single day, I kind of had this conversation with myself and with God, and I would ask myself, Mike, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you going to this job day after day after day just to get my paycheck every other week? And I had a moment in Springville, Utah, driving past Springville, where the clouds parted, or the inversion parted, I should say, for a second, for those of you that know Utah County. The sun shone through, and I knew at that moment that I needed to give my notice and I needed to start the path of working for myself. That was my moment. And I'm even emotional right now just telling you about it because I remember how it felt. I remember how it made me and moved me to action. And I remember the power that it has and the giant well of life water that it created that I've had to go back to time and time again through my entrepreneurial journey. I'm so thankful for that, and I'm grateful that I've documented both mentally and physically that moment so that I could go back to that. So again, number 2 is to remind yourself and go back to basics of why you're doing what you're doing now. Why are you so passionate about it? What is it that drove you to leave the area of comfort or discomfort that you were in and move you to this place right now? So important. Number 3, and this is something that we'll talk about all the time, and that is consistency. Your emotions will screw you. I think that's a Mel Robbins quote, actually, and she's so right. Because if you rely on how you feel or your emotions, whether you're going to go for a run in the morning, you're going to be 400 pounds, right? Because you will not go on that run because you won't feel like it. And you have to go back to those basic, those fundamental, consistent actions that you take every single day and do them whether you feel good about them or not. I don't know what they are for you. Maybe it's you need to make 10 prospecting calls every single day. Maybe it's you need to send 10 emails every single day. Maybe you need to have that Monday morning huddle with your team every single week. You have to go back to those consistent things, whether you feel like you need to can do them mentally and emotionally or not. You still have to keep up that consistency. So again, that's what's so important and will help you guide you through. So in recap, again, when you're having a crappy day, you want to give up on your entrepreneurial dream and you're giving up on your legacy and your family history and all the other things that you're doing while you're doing, the number one thing is that you talk to your peers, talk to your coaches, talk to your consultants, talk to those people that you trust, which may or may not include your spouse. The second thing is to go back to the fundamentals, go back to that well of inspiration that created you and moved you to action to be an entrepreneur. And number 3 is to get back to those consistent actions that you know will lead to success. That's what I've got for you today on the Taylor Green podcast. Again, I'm Mike Green. Visit us at taylorgreenmedia.com, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.